Hey, this is the World Advice Channel 2. What I want to talk about today is the topic of how we can fix our political system. So for this video, what I'll be discussing is what we can do to prevent, the intense political division, that has been going on through not only America, but the world. In other words, find a solution to help end the extreme political polarization that is on both sides, of the political ideological spectrum, in a simple and straightforward way so anyone can understand it, okay? So now I mentioned that, let's get started. So when it comes to how we can, help ease the political division that is going on in the world right now, the simple solution to that is to end politicizing certain particular topics, okay? Because the truth is, like everything in the world, there's certain particular topics that are very important to people, okay? In this case specifically, these are topics that are extremely important because they actually affect the world as a whole, objectively, okay? So they shouldn't be politicized, which when I mean by politicized, I mean, one party, threatening to take away one of these particular things that I am referring to, these particular topics, that I'm going to be referring to for this video, okay? So in other words, to be even more specific, we draw the line, even though political, people on both sides will of course disagree on things, we at least understand, of course, that you cannot ban any of these particular things, more like issues for that matter, that I will be getting into right now, which when it comes to what those issues are, there are three main things, okay? Self-defense, the economy, and the environment, okay? Literally, these three main things should not be politicized, okay? When it comes to the rules of them, the fundamental rules of them to be more exact, there shouldn't be anyone who would say that we're going to fund policies that's going to take away any of the things that relate to these particular three main topics, okay? So now let's start with the first one, self-defense. Now, obviously, specifically in America, okay, the biggest one about self-defense, that of course always comes up is the topic of, do people have the right to own firearms, okay? This one definitely shouldn't be up for a question, okay? There should never, ever, ever be a ban on guns, okay? Because guns are very necessary. It helps protect people. As we all know, not everybody is built the same, and also people have different priorities in life. Not everybody is spending their time in the gym learning how to fight, or even learning how to shoot for that matter. Learning how to fight for that matter, more like, because these criminals can't shoot for shit. But like, you get the point. Like, not everybody in the world has the time to learn how to fight. So when you have a situation that comes up where like somebody might pose a threat to you, or even an animal, if you live in certain parts of the United States, or let alone anywhere in the world, okay? The truth of the matter is, you have the right to defend yourself, okay? You have the absolute right to shoot that person or animal to protect yourself, okay? That is not something that should be politicized whatsoever, okay? Specifically from the left wing, okay? Because the truth of the matter is, even though of course both sides disagree on certain things, like, do we need people to have fully automatic rifles, for that matter, or maybe do we need people to have 50 caliber guns, whatever. We have disagreements on stuff like how powerful a rifle is, to how many bullets can a gun have, yada yada yada, you get the point. One thing should definitely remain true. People should, of course, be able to decide, for that matter, that if they want to be able to get a firearm, because it's the most effective form of self-defense. So that is something that should definitely never be politicized whatsoever in any way, shape, or form. And that is the honest truth, okay? So that's the first one. Now, to the second one is the economy, okay? This is definitely one that both sides are absolutely guilty of politicizing. Whether it could be the modern left, the woke left, we're not even talking about the Obama era left. That was actually the normal left. We're talking about the pretty much 2016 onward, who pretty much say that we should pretty much be a communist nation or something, in other words, socialist, as they say, but it's the same thing. Or on the other hand, you have the right wing who say that there should be absolutely no regulation for the stock market. These things right here, are definitely things that are both bad ideas, okay? The truth is, when it comes to the economy, as we all know, we live in a world that's fundamentally driven by money. So taking chances with the economy is something that absolutely no one should be doing whatsoever, okay? Besides, it's already been proven capitalism works, for that matter, okay? It will always work, to be honest with you. And it's just a system throughout all of human history. In one way, shape, or form, we've had some form of it for literally every part of the world, okay? So we know how it works, okay? So it's definitely a better system than communism, where they don't even know, what is even valuable and what's not valuable, and even how to make money for that matter, okay? So capitalism is the best system. I'm not going to hide my words. I'm not going to be politically correct, I'm just going to say it's the best system, okay? So politicizing the way the economy should be run, saying it should be run this particular way, like having no regulation whatsoever, or, of course, there should be, maybe a different political ideology for how we run the economy, like socialism / communism, all that type of stuff. All that stuff is just a bad idea, to answer your question. The truth of the matter is, there shouldn't be any politicized form of it for any of the two sides, okay? There shouldn't be any of that, okay? The way the economy runs is good enough. We might have some disagreements here and there, but going from one extreme to another for any of the ways of thinking is a terrible thing to do, and that's honest truth. So that's my second point. Now the third point, definitely that is absolutely undeniably true, okay, is the environment, okay? This one should not be politicized at all, okay? Whether it's global warming or environmental destruction, these are things that should not be politicized, okay? These things are straight up facts. And even if, when it comes to global warming, using global warming as a specific example, it might not be as true as people make it out to be, or just straight up wrong, the theory of global warming. Common sense would obviously indicate, for that matter, to be quite blunt and honest with you, why do you want to take a chance whatsoever? No matter how you look at it, in every way, shape, or form, electric cars are way better, let alone running on electricity, is a way better and more effective system in numerous ways than, of course, as you already know, the idea of course, having gas-powered cars, such as the fact that electricity is a lot harder to run out of, than, of course, gas, and it doesn't smell as bad. It prevents places from smelling as bad as they could smell. You see what I'm saying? So to answer your question, though, to put it bluntly, the environment is not something that should be played around with, because what if global warming actually is real and then we realize we screwed up the world and we can't do anything to fix it? This is our main planet, for that matter, So we shouldn't take a risk with that, let alone environmental damage. That's also problematic, because it also gets in a way, of course, of not only the weather, but also, of course, the amount of resources we can obviously produce when it comes to food specifically. So these are, so that is more like the environment. It's definitely something that shouldn't be politicized, both sides, even though they might have disagreements here and there, should realize things like environmental damage is real, as well as global warming is real. Those are things that should not be challenged. Those are things that are facts, and that's honest truth. So anyway, this is my video I have made. These are the three things that I feel should never be politically challenged ever, for that matter. Even though people in life have disagreements, these are the three most important things that we need to keep our society afloat. And not even just that, these are also things that also I've noticed create the greatest political division between people. Okay, so as a result of course, keeping the peace and making sure we live in a happy, prosperous world, the rules of these three topics I mentioned should not be challenged. Okay, there might be disagreements here and there, but the fundamental principles of these three rules are things that shouldn't be challenged. And the quicker we do that, the quicker we'll live in a better world. Okay, and that is all I have to say, and simply put, I'm out. So bye.